So, hello everyone, my name is and now I can perform the navigate the Linux file system and permission settings. So, before I can start, if you can see, I don't have a video for installing the Linux because more computer shop I can go, but it's not allowed to installing, so I have no choice. But I can try my best to perform the navigating the Linux, and I can perform the files and explain how to navigate Linux file system and the permission settings. So now they are part 3. So part 3. So first, the exploring file system in Linux. Second, the file permissions. And the third is symbolic links and other special file types. So I can start. The objectives in this lab, you will familiarize yourself with Linux file system. So now there is objective. In this lab, you will familiarize yourself with Linux file system. So let's start. So in the part 1, exploring file system in the Linux. So the Linux file system is the one of the most popular features, while Linux supports many different types of file system. So this lab focuses on the X family, one of the most common file system found of the Linux. So there's part 1 in the step. First, the step 1 is access the command line. So access the command line, touch the CyberOps workstation of the virtual machine and open the terminal window. So that's a first step you can do. And the second, display the file system currently mounted. So file system must be mounted before they can be accessed, and the use in the computing mounted file system means to make it accessibility to the operating system. So the mounting file system is the process of linking the physical partitions of the block device. So there are hard drive, SSD drive, a pen drive, and etc. to a directory through which of the entire file system can be accessed, because the approximation directory becomes the root of the newly mounted file system and is also known as mounting point. So use the lsblk command to display all back device. So you can display the all device in this. So I can see. So if you can see, this is a display command for the all device. So you can see the size, type of the point. So that's a display for the command. So the output of above show the CyberOps workstations of virtual machine has 3 block device. Instead, install it. SRU is the SDE and the SDB. So the 3 like output also shown on the partitions under the SDE and the SDB. So conventionally, the diff SDX is used by Linux that represents hard drives with the training number of the presenting the partition number of the inside the device. Computers with the multiple hardware drives would likely display more the device. If Linux was running on a computer with 4 hard drives, for the example, it would show them at the SDE. So reveal the SDB and the SDC and the SDD. So by default, the output time will influence that SDE and the SDB are the hard drives, each one containing a single partitions. The output also shown that the 10 gig and the 1 gig. So Linux often display the USB flash drive, and the debate is the SDX as well, depending on the term firewall types. So use the command to display more the details, data, information of the currently. So mounted the file system in the cyberwalls of workstations of the virtual machines. So if you can see, this is a. So if you can see, I can. So I can proceed. So, and you can see this mount is displayed on the output. You can type the diff of the is still on of the type of export of the real time, and many file systems above the are out of the scope of the discourse and irrelevant to the lab. Let's focus on the root file system and the file system stored in the device. So the root file system where the Linux operating system installed with the stored all the programs, tools, configurations, files, and the stored in the root file system by the default. So run of the mount command again, but this time use the byte to send of the output of mount to grep to filters the output of display only the root file system. So this is a root to output to display the mount if you can run. So in the filtered output above function as that the root file system is located in the first partitions of the SDE block device. So we know this is the root file system because of the mounting point. Use the smash symbols. The output also tells us the type of the formatting used in the partitions. So in this case, the information in between parentheses relates to the partitions of mounting options. So issue the following of the commands below on the cyberops of partition of the virtual machine. So if you can type you can see the display. So you can the CD or is analyzing scope. So first question. So what is the meaning of the output? Where are the latest files physical stored? So the first command changes the directory to the root directory. The root of the directory is the highest level of the file system because the SDE one of the mounted of the root directory. By listing the file in the root directory, the user is the actually listed files physically stored in the root of the debug is the file system. So the second question is why is if SDB1 not shown in the output above? So for me, it's not shown of the output for the div is SDB because div is SDB1 is not currently mounted. So the step 3, you can do the manually mounting and the unmounting file system. So the mount command can also be used to mount and the unmount file system as seen in the step 1. The cyber workstations of the virtual machine has 2 hard drives. So installed, the first one was recognized by the kernel as diff of the while the second was recognized as device. Before a block device can be mounted, it must have a mounting point. So use the ACE and command to verify the directory. So the second drive is the analyze home directory. So this is a command to verify the home directory. So this is output you can see, depending on the state of your virtual machines, you're listening while most have different files and directories. So use is again to list the contents of the newly created of the second drive directory. So you can use the S of second drive and total of 0. So you can display that. So use the mall of the command most because on the newly create the second drive directory, the syntax of mount is options. So device to be mounted, mounting point. So the mounting point is, look at this. I can show this is this is a option to this device to the mounted. So no output is provided, which means the mounting process was successful. So now that the debug has been mounted on home analysis of drive to listen and contents for the directory again. So look at this. I can show this. The analysis is the second drive total, the do root of the file that text of the March 3. So why is this directory no longer empty? Where are the lesson files physical stored? So for me, I don't no longer empty because she looks that home analysis of the second drive use is of the root. So that's the why it's not longer for the empty of the live files of the physical stored. So issue of the command, which of the option again to display detail information about the device of the partitions. So as before, as to give of command to the display only the debug of the file system. So that's the part of part 1. So and proceed the part 2 in the file permissions. So before I can start the file permissions, so Linux file systems have been the features to control the ability of the users to view, change, navigate, and executes the contents of the file system. Essentially, each file in the file system carries its own set of permissions, always carrying a set of definitions about what users and groups can do with the files. So first step, you can do the visualize and change the file permissions. This is a navigate to home analysis lab that support the files script. So you can see that the SD lab for the files the script. So you can type and you can show the display about that. So use the S and command to display file permissions. So if you can type the S and this command to make sure this all can display. If you can use the S of command to display file permissions. So if you can see, all this is display for the output. So consider the groups of file and example who is the owner of the file. How about the group? So analyze the permission for groups of man are the RWR. So question, what does that mean? So kung saan masabot or kung saan nyo nakuha na ni na naibuwan o kan basta. So what does that mean? So for me, the mean of this, the owner of the file that analyze user can read and write to the file but not execute it. So are W members of the analysis group other that the owner can only read the file, are no execution or writing is allowed. All other users are not allowed to write or execute that files. touch command is the very simple to use it. So allowed for the quiet creations and the empty text file, use the command below, create empty file and the directory. So second question is, why was the file not created? So the file not created lists the permissions, ownership, and content of the directory, and explain what happened, which the additional of the options. It lists the permissions of the parent directory. So you can record the answers line below. So the permission of the directory is owned by the root user with the permissions. So permission this way only the root user is allowed to write to the folder. So see what can be done for the touch command shown about to the successful. So the touch command shown about the successful, the command can be executed as root adding sudo before it, or the permissions or the main directory can be modified. So the command is the use of the change permissions of the file directory as before mount of the previous partitions. So that's how the home analysis of the drive directory created early in this lab. So change to the second drive directory and the list the content. So this can show the second drive. If you can contents of the list the second drive, so you can see the loose found in my files that text. So if you can see March 3 and 10:59, the second is March 3 but it's 15:42. So what are the permission of my file text? So the permission of the file text, if you can see this, you can see that the permission of the my file text is the use command of the change of the permission of my file text. So use the command change of the permission of my file text. You did the permission change. What are the permissions of my file text? So there's the chmod command takes permission of the octal format. In this way of the breakdown of the 665 is the as follows. So 6 in octal is the 110 in binary, assuming each position of the permissions of the file can be 1 or 0, or 110 means of the read 1, write 1, and execute 0. Therefore, the chmod the 665 my files that command change the permissions to owner, group, others. So there are 6, the owner of group, 6 in the octal and 110 in the binary. So the others is the 5 in octal or 101 in the binary. So what commands what change of the permissions of my files that text? So greeting in the any users the system full access to the file. So that's a sudo clone of the my file that text. So if you can the command is the use of the change ownership of the file directory, issues command below to make root of the owner of the file my file text. So to change both of the owner, the group to analysis is the same time use the sudo chomp of analyze my file that text format. So now that analyze is the file owner, try appending the word list of the my file text. So questions: was the operation successful? So explain. So the operation successful, there is a letter D and the beginning of the permissions for the welfare directory. So So directory the permissions similar to regular files directory also carry permissions. Both files and the directory have 9 bits for the permissions of the owner of user or user. So the group of the others, there are more bits of the special permission for the set secure with ID, the set gid or s- sticky or sticky of which the ano of behind the scope of this lab. So the change of the back home of the directory of the issue of this command is list file of the con. So this is a list of the is command. This is a command you can show that. Ah, sorry. So you can show that. So that's this is Apache in the watch.log applications X in the watch.log attacks very confidential and the text so groups of man service so doorbell of banner index letter to grandma of legit or forbid minutes or and all that of the this is right the use in the is yo so this is a display so you can use this is a command of the list. So this is a output of this. So after that, if you compare permission of the welfare directory, so with the minimate service file, what is the difference between beginning part of the welfare? So line at the minify service of line. So the letter D as beginning of the line and indicates that the file system, the file type is directory is not file. Another difference between file and directory. So permission is not the execution bit of a file has been execution bit turned on. So it's mean it can be executed by the system. Directories and different stat files that are executing bits of a file with the executions bit suite of the executable. So clip of the program directory of the permission with the executions bit set of specific whether a user can enter the directory. So in the part 3, so you can proceed the part 3. So before I can proceed the part 3, the Chrome of the commands work directory in the same way the work of the files. So let's proceed the part 3 of the symbolic links of the other special file types. So there are three type of files: the regular files, directory files, and special files. So the regular files you can include readable files, text files, binary files, programs, image files, or compressed files. In the directory files, you can do the folders. The directory files only folders, and the regular files is the including readable text, binary, and image, and compressed files. In the special files, there are 5 types of files that are special. So first, block files, relative device files, file files, symbolic link files, and lastly, socket files. In the block files is the file used to access physical hardware like mount or points to access hard drives. The character device files that provide a serial stream of input and output. Try the terminals are examples of this type of file. So that's five the 5 types of files of the special. Yeah. So first you can examine files types. So use the S command. So that first you can use the S command to display the notice of characters of the each line of the either the indicating of or a file or a T indicating of the directory. So that so this so proceed choose the listen of the div directory, scroll to the middle of the output, notice how on the black files begin of the characters device begin with the AC and the symbolic links of the main byte. So this you can display in the output this, or you can display if you can type the S or the div for the listing for the doc files. So you can see that this is you can display about this output, the symbolic. So this is the command of the summit directory, and you can show that the file symbolic this or the this downloads 1925 you can display this use of this command of the summit directory list. And so now I can proceed that's all, but I can read of my reflections about this topic, or the navigate of the Linux. So file permissions and ownerships are two or the most important aspect for Linux. They are also a common cause of problems. A file that has the wrong permissions of the ownership seat will not be available to the programs that need to access in this scenario. So the program will usually break and the errors will be encountered. So that's all for the navigate the Linux of the permissions of the settings. So if you can see, I hope you can understand my situation is because I don't have a laptop or gun, but more computer shop I can go, but it's not allowed to install because the computer shop is more problem that issue the PC. So but I try my best to perform, and I can do my best to perform this miss, but bisag lisod kay may it's so hard for me to I so many few days I can go to the computer shop, but I don't wala ko kakita sang miss kanang pwede ma-installan. That's all, miss. Thank you. I hope you can understand this. Thank you, miss.